everybody back to Approachable. This is a podcast that is powered by JomezPro. I'm Jo Henderson.
And I'm Paige Pierce, and this is unfortunately the last episode of the season, but I'm excited because we finally get a chance to kind of recap what all went into the season, and honestly just I thought it was amazing. And and now it's like inspiring for me. I hope season 2 we get a chance to talk to even more people, and like it's just given me more ideas and more insight on what goes on in the community that we haven't really talked about before.
Exactly. I think that honestly we've covered so many topics. I hope we've covered all the questions that we can, and we've done so many episodes too, and got to talk to a huge amount of people. I feel like we've learned quite a bit here.
Totally.
And Paige, did you have a favorite, like a highlight episode for you?
I think for me, like the whole point of this podcast was like to learn about the sides of disc golf that I don't know about. So with that in mind, I think my favorite one would have been maybe like the Disc Golf Pro Tour episode with Sam and Brian. Even me that is so closely involved with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, I didn't really realize how a lot of those things happened.
Right.
So I think that one was really eye-opening for me. How about you?
The Disc Golf Park episode actually was so fascinating to me because I've worked on a course before. So that one for me was like, okay, like actually knowing what goes into all that stuff and like all those parks that they have. That I'm like, it was very fascinating. Yeah.
It's really cool. We've interviewed people that are putting the courses in. We've interviewed people that are teaching kids. We've interviewed people that are running the live media of the highest level. So we've gotten to see all the different sides of the sport and just really shown like how approachable disc golf is. And I thought another one that was really cool was with Jackie and Doug.
Yes.
And them hosting the world championships, that's amazing, but also then just them talking about all the volunteers that they've helped. And I think that that they've kind of like lined up and that they've worked with, because the volunteers is the people that get taken for granted. I think when you're out there on the course and people are spotting or people are signing up to do check-in, making sure that we get checked in and stuff like that, they're not getting paid, they're volunteering, and it's for the love of the game. And those stories are really cool. And a smile and a thank you is all that we really give them, but I hope that they know how appreciated it is. So it was cool for us to almost dedicate a whole episode to the volunteers.
Exactly.
If you guys are out there and you have volunteered at a disc golf event, just know everyone there appreciates you. Maybe we have our heads down because we're focused on disc golf, but we obviously know that disc golf would not be possible without you guys. So thank you times a million.
Yes. Yeah. I can't even imagine how many hours you guys all put into that too. So thank you for the early hours, the late hours, whatever you're doing out there to make the course as beautiful as possible.
Yep.
Super appreciated.
So we got a lot of questions in from our viewers. We told you guys reach out to approachable@jomezpro.com with your questions, concerns, comments, and we got a lot of questions. So we wanted to kind of go through there and, see what you guys were thinking about throughout the season. And the first one that piqued my interest was about, that they have a 6-digit PDGA number, and does that make them less important than someone with a 3-digit PDGA number?
Right.
And for me, I think that mostly this is just like bragging rights, right? Or some kind of like, I've been doing it longer than you, I'm cooler. But I don't think a lot of people have that mentality. I think there are some people that might think that way, but for the most part, the advantage is when you have a lower PDGA number and there's a tie on a certain round. If Jo and I tie in a round, I have a lower PDGA number, so I'll get to go on the first card and she might drop down to the second card, which is really not that big of a deal.
No.
So I wouldn't consider it being a disadvantage to have a higher PDGA number. I honestly think it's kind of cool to have a high PDGA number, because like someone like one of our guests, actually, Thomas Gilbert, I think he has a pretty high PDGA number. And it's cool that, he on his episode, he's talking about, grabbing Paul McBeth's Destroyer and trying it out.
Exactly.
And it's like, wow, his PDGA number is probably like 5 times higher than Paul McBeth's, but how cool is that? Like, wow, my PDGA PDGA number is 7 digits, 8 digits, 9 digits, but I'm competing at a higher level than somebody else. So
exactly.
It's honestly kind of cool. Just don't worry about when you sign up. Just get signed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say just sign up, go to tournaments, enter in tournaments, have fun, play, get competitive, do what you got to do to win.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that actually, goes right into one of the other questions that we saw was like, somebody said, hey, I don't really get involved with the competitive side of disc golf at all. Like, can you talk about other things outside of the competitive side? And I think we kind of did during the season with Zoe's episode and You Play and
Disc Golf Park,
right? But, I think other things to think about when you're not playing disc golf competitively is still getting out to the course, trying to engage with your community, and maybe just playing like, maybe you're not competing in a tournament, but you're playing like a league round with friends. And I know Joe and I have both talked, that's something we want to do for season 2 for sure, is get someone who runs leagues, maybe even a couple leagues. Like, I don't know, I was kind of thinking like somewhere in Minnesota or one of the big disc golf meccas, Charlotte or Minnesota or Dallas or somewhere in there, like a league director.
Exactly.
Because that's fascinating to me, how much time and energy they spend. And for those people that don't play in tournaments, but they play all around the cities, I think that's really cool.
Well, and even those league tournaments, you can still make them competitive and fun, but like there's not much on the line in a way, right? But it's still, after I've been to some league tournaments, it's pretty funny to see how like competitive it does get too. Which is, it's a good mix and good balance of everything. Yeah, I love it.
So I guess and even when we're talking about that, it's like those are still competitions.
It is.
But I was thinking about putting leagues too. Like those are so much fun, but even that's a competition. So what can you think that's like a disc golf activity that's not competitive based?
I mean, even just taking your friends out, like that haven't even played before, like teaching people about disc golf would be super fun. And that one is like really not competitive at all. Like how can you compete against someone who's never played, right? So.
And that was kind of one of your ideas, was to challenge you guys as the viewers and listeners to make disc golf more approachable in your community. So we were talking about having like an Instagram challenge, if you will, where you guys tag Approachable Pod and you show how you're making disc golf approachable in your communities. And I think what Joe just said is a perfect example.
Exactly.
Just go give someone one of your old discs. If you have a pile of discs that you don't throw anymore, just go grab those and keep them in the back of your trunk. And then every time you see someone that's new, give them one of those discs, and they'll like it because it's beat in, it's flying better for them. And I think that's a great way to make disc golf more approachable.
Tag us at Approachable Pod, and then we will repost those stories, and then we'll share your post basically, and then we can share the love of the game.
So another question was, how can we make disc golf courses in more urban settings? And we kind of talked about this a lot on the episode with Simon and UC in Disc Golf Park. We talked about, I actually said that's what I would want to see changed, is let's get them in Chicago. Let's get them in Philadelphia, in, all the big cities around the nation. Let's get disc golf in the cities, not on the small towns outside of the city. But I think UC spoke on his experience with that, is that the cities don't really want to give use to those parks. So I think, if we could get more legitimate as a sport overall, the cities might find that that's more appealing. So I think that's kind of on us as a collective community to continue to raise the bar of how we're seen inside the sport. So
exactly. I feel like there'd be a little bit more like give from the city in that way, in that regard, because I feel like the more money that's in the sport, the more tournaments that are in the sport, the more like tourist population happen, like the more that happens, then I think the more the city would be like, oh, that actually is a good idea. Or that does.
But you also have to think of like the safety. And, in a city park, in a city center, you're not going to have that much room. That is not going to be over a sidewalk or by And then I think of like what sports are in the middle of the city. It's like, oh, you see tennis courts, you see volleyball courts, but those are such a small designated place.
And fenced in usually for tennis. Yeah.
So maybe it's like, hey, just a couple practice baskets, and it's like set up as like a putting thing.
Like a putting. Oh, that would be fun. Like a putt.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool. Maybe just like 4 or 5 baskets, and it's like a putting scene.
Yeah,
and it's
that'd
like,
be fun.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, safety is a big thing, and then space, land, and space size.
Yeah.
Space size.
Space size. I like that.
Yeah, but those are the things that you definitely need to think about when you're moving into the city. But I definitely think that would be a huge way to grow the sport is for more eyes to see it. Not as many people are going to the outskirts and seeing this basket. So it would be so cool. I just picture like lights above the baskets and a little food truck and stuff like that.
Totally. That would be such a cool scene.
Yeah. Oh, and one of our other questions was about like vending at tournaments and like what are the other opportunities at tournaments. And I just thought of that because like I think something that's missing big time is like more food truck vendors. Like what if we had specific designated food trucks that followed the Pro Tour around the country? Or like
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, like you know, you see the Red Bull truck or you see all these different vendors, but what if we had certain ones that came to every disc golf tournament and sat out there? They became like the burritos of the Disc Golf Pro Tour or something like that.
Or like vitamin water or like random things like that. Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Any of it.
Yeah. If you're a food truck, go hit up a disc golf event. Like, go check that out. If you know anyone that does, tell them to, because I'm sure you'd get a lot of business.
Oh my gosh. People don't want to leave the course. They want to get free food. They don't want to get free food. Well, they do. They do want free food. But no, they want food that is easily accessible right there on the site. They don't have to leave. They can just grab a quick bite, especially the spectators, you know.
Yeah.
Before it was like, okay, you just got to feed the pros, and now it's like you got to feed 2,000
quite
spectators.
a few people,
it's definitely profitable. You're going to have a great time out there, and I don't know what are the other
people. Like,
and meet some
disc golfers are some pretty great people.
Yeah, and they're just appreciative that you're even there. So every vendor that I've seen at a disc golf event has been. I always ask them like, "Hey, what do you think about disc golf?" If I notice it's a company that I haven't seen in disc golf before, I'm like, "What'd you think? Did you do well?
Are you gonna come back?"
And they're like, yeah. I noticed that at the match play championship last year. Yeah, they were super stoked about that. They had a little bar and grill thing, and they loved it.
So cool.
But what other like vendors do you think we should like welcome into the disc golf community? Like if when you were at the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships and you came like to the main parking lot, like what would you have hoped was there?
Honestly, I think disc dyeing would do really well. Disc dyeing would be super cool on the road. Yeah. Because I think that's such an art, and it's a way to showcase art on a disc. Like, it's a disc can be like a canvas, right? Like, you could put anything on that. And to me, I'm super fascinated by different art and, like, that kind of thing. So I think disc dyeing would be really sweet. I think you could have, like, some sort of... you could have some sort of, like, photo booth, which would be kind of cool.
That would be cool, yeah.
Which, like, there you go. You capture your memories. You, like, can hold up all the different discs you got that tournament. I don't know. Something like that would be really sweet.
Yeah, maybe the pros could, like, join the spectators for some photos and stuff like that. That's a good idea.
That would be cool. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Do you have any ideas?
I was kind of thinking also, like, doggy daycare.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I want to bring my puppy on the road, but where's he going to go? Exactly. And there's so many pros that have dogs on the road, and someone that could just, like, be, like, a puppy nanny or something, like, right there. And, like, you know, think about, like, Nate Sexton or some of the other pros that are having kids. You know, Max Nichols, he's a great thrower. Simon's about to have a kid, and, you know, it would be so cool if we had a service like that where you have this, like, qualified nanny or something, like, I think that's the right word, like, and they can just
stay home. I don't know what you call it. Totally.
And they can watch the kids while Nate competes, and you know, there's no stress, no worries, and he doesn't have to leave his family for a couple weeks at a time.
Exactly.
They're just there. I think that would be an awesome thing to have happen eventually. I don't know if that's dreaming too big.
Yeah, no, I think that would be amazing and so convenient for everyone in the sport, right? Like that would just, and for the kids too, that would be a much easier thing than having your parent leave for however long on a tour. Yeah. So that would be super cool.
But honestly, there's so many vendors at tournaments these days. Like there wasn't that many before, but now it's growing more and more, especially with the tournaments having fly marts and stuff. Like we're starting to see clothing retailers, towels, whale sacks, stuff like that. So I mean, for me, I compare it to like going to a festival, a music festival, and like you always see food, you see, like you said, art, you see like merchandise, like clothes and stuff like that. And I think we kind of are getting all of that. So if you guys out there make something with your hands and it's disc golf inspired, try to contact the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and I'm sure there's a spot for you guys out there.
Yeah. Do you have any like unique ones that you've seen? Like anything that you're like, whoa, I've never seen that or never thought of that before?
When I've been out on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like there's like disc golf candles.
Oh,
there's
wow.
like people that make disc golf jewelry, like little pendants and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool. So it's cool to like, you know, when you go on a vacation, and Doug Bierkes talked about this on his episode too, that when you go to, you know, you're buying a ticket, you're going to this place, right? Then you want to leave with a souvenir. And so to have different things available like that are exactly what the spectators are looking for. They want to go home and be like, hey, check out, I just came back from this tournament and look what I got. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Exactly. So. And then that's your way to be like, yes, I legit went there. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, yeah, I mean, a photo does help, but yeah. No one can argue that, though.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. You got a tangible piece of proof.
Exactly.
Another question was about what demographics are underrepresented in disc golf, and like what are the minorities and how do we get them more seen? And I think that, you know, I love this question because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to show the people that aren't seen, the people that aren't talked about. And I think that's why we're kind of opening up this this podcast and this venture. And thanks to JomezPro, who's trusted us on this and honestly been super excited about every step of the way. You know, I think that we talked about this on Thomas's episode. You know, just anyone in the LGBTQ community, I think they're underrepresented and also just a little bit like misunderstood, you know, like, and I think that it's our job as a society to kind of like remember that we're all human beings and like, you know, people get really hateful towards politics and stuff like that, you know, Trump versus Biden, and oh, you voted for him. Oh, this business owner over there voted for him. I'm not going shopping there anymore. It's like, wow, you know. And so I think just realizing that we are all humans. It doesn't matter anything else. Like, so I think, in my opinion, on how we get people more represented.
Yeah, there you go.
Is just to show them open arms and welcome them in. Like when you're going up to a league and you see someone that looks new, and this happened at high school all the time for me, probably for you as well. Like this is just a high school thing. Like when you see someone new, it's like, oh, they're new. Oh, you know, you can just sense that, and then you both get clammy and whatever, but just try to open your heart, open your mind, open your arms, and go talk to that person. If you see someone that you haven't seen before, go introduce yourself. And especially if there's someone that looks nervous or shy, and chances are, if they are a minority of some sort, that's kind of going into their nervousness.
And I bet you saying hi probably opens the door for them to be like, oh, like let out that exhale of like, that deep breath that they were holding in, and like it gives them that opportunity to get into the community, and that just that first hello, that's all it is, or even that little smile or whatever it is, just that friendly action goes a long ways.
And it probably just lets them take this breath of like, oh,
someone sees me.
Yeah. And typically when that happens, like you weren't the only one that was thinking about talking to that person. So now you're just kind of the leader, and you just took the first step, and now everyone else is going to ask them and talk to them as well, because chances are if you see someone different, you see someone unique, you want to talk to them. You want to know about their life, where they came from, where they've been, you know, in their life, and
what's their journey, what's their story,
what's their journey. And I think, you know, just opening that door is such a powerful thing, because you can learn so much about all different communities, and that's exactly what disc golf is all about.
Exactly. So. I feel like, disc golf has taught me so much about people. Like, I feel like there's been so many interactions that I've had that I'm like, wow, I'm so glad they came up to me, or I'm so glad, like, we had that interaction, or, like, this opened up this door for me, and, like, I got to know these people. Like, it's been incredible. And the amount of community that you get with that is just, you can't create that any other way, right?
Yep. So, and that's just cool. How you, like, we talked about on one of the episodes too, was like mingling and like going to tournaments and just talking to people, even if you're not like playing the tournament, just like networking, right? And that's kind of how that happens too, is like once you start talking to one person, you find out, oh, you're a doctor, oh, you know, you're a plumber, oh, and then you all kind of like have these things that you can help each other with. And it's so cool to see that everybody wants to help each other. And
everybody has a life outside of disc golf too, right? Like, it's this thing that, I don't know, on the course, you're just like doing your thing. Everybody is a disc golfer on the course, right? And then all of a sudden you start to like get to know them more, ask those more personal questions, and you find out, you're working, or you're playing with a doctor, or like you're playing with someone who works with kids, or like random things where you're like the
number one heart surgeon in the world or something.
Like,
it's like, what?
I didn't know you played disc golf. Like, so cool.
It's really cool to see the versatility in people that are out there. So spread that, because we're here telling you this and encouraging and hopefully inspiring, but it could stop at the other end of these headphones.
Exactly.
As long as you guys...
At this mic,
unless you guys continue this and you inspire the people in front of you, and then that just keeps rolling, because I think this world is a domino effect, and we put out what we receive. So spread that, and disc golf's gonna keep on growing.
Exactly. And it's like a pay it forward kind of thing. Like, if you receive it, you got to give it. Like, don't hold that stuff in. You got to give it out too. Thank you guys so much for sending in your questions. That was awesome, and I hope we were able to answer them to the best of our ability at this point in time. But
I think we were overwhelmed with the amount of messages, comments, likes, follows, everything. We really, really want to thank you guys so much for all the support. And honestly, it was such a fun way to spend my off season. And, you know, now here we are, 2 events into the season. We've played Vegas and we've played Waco, and now we are getting into the thick of the tour. There was a couple weeks off in between Vegas and Waco, and now we're kind of getting into the full part of the tour. And honestly, 2022 is shaping up to be the biggest and best year that I've ever been a part of on the disc golf tour. And, you know, I think that we're seeing more and more people come into it. With COVID, we know we had the big boom.
Oh, man.
And now the world's opening up a little bit more again, and we're seeing the spectator limits are going up and up and up. So we're getting more people at tournaments.
Which is so fun.
Amazing to see. So we are, I mean, like I said, for me, it was such a fun way to spend an off season, and I know this next season is going to be super sweet on Approachable. We have a list this long of names that we want to interview, people that you guys have recommended. We're looking through those, sifting through those, and trying to figure out how many episodes we're going to do for season 2, what kind of people we want to talk to. I know we said we want to do a league director.
Yes. Yeah.
I think, what's the other one we were talking about doing?
We were talking about some sort of disc golf merchandise, or like some sort of like
some small business inside of disc golf. Yeah. Definitely one of those. And then, collegiates.
Yes.
We want to do, we both talked amongst ourselves, and we realized like both of us are very underinformed on what goes into the collegiate side of things. So I want to do an interview with someone in that side of the sport and see how that transition is from college level to pro level, all of it. I don't even know what questions I want to ask yet because I got to do some research more on what the tournaments are even like. I know that they happen during the USDGC, but anyway, I would love to get in touch with someone on that. And yeah, there's so many different things that we still have yet to cover and have yet to even think about.
Exactly.
So as this season progresses and progresses, I know that now season 1 is out completely and we're getting even more messages in every week. So I think we're going to line ourselves up with some people along the way. And my small goal outside of the disc golf course is to just talk to as many people as possible at disc golf events and see, stop putting the blinders on and, hey, I got to play this tournament, and just think about like, hey, I want to connect with the people in this community and how many people am I missing out on relationships with because I'm just so focused on the tournament. So I want to talk to more people and just learn more about the people inside of our sport, and then hopefully feature some of them on here,
which would be amazing. Something I always ask myself is like, what can I learn from this person, or what can I take away, or what's one thing that I could like put into myself that is kind of from them. Like what's something that I can like make myself better at, because like they do such a good job of this one thing.
Totally.
And so I hope to do the same. And I know that I'll be on tour for a little bit too, which will be fun.
Very exciting. Jo is going to come to a few tournaments this year.
A few tournaments.
So if you guys see us out there, we'll probably be shooting some Approachable promo stuff and come get a photo with us.
Yeah,
we'll put it on
love that. Yeah. That would be so fun.
If we're together and you see us, come get a photo. Hang out. We'll feature it on our Instagram.
Definitely. Yeah, I know that there were so many like people making goals for 2022 season, and I'm still hoping to make my goals, but I'm hoping to sign up for like at least I think 4 A tiers is my goal this year. But yeah, what other kind of goals do you have going on, Paige, for yourself?
For me, I want to I think I want to try to shoot for player of the year.
I love that.
That hasn't been a goal of mine lately. It's just kind of been like tournament by tournament, or hey, let's win worlds. But I didn't win player of the year last year. And then in 2020, it was like co-player of the year. So it kind of felt a little weird. So I would like to kind of like show that consistency in myself and show that, hey, I'm giving it my all every single weekend, and I'm coming, and whether I win or not, I'm up there contending for the win. Yeah. And I think that's a big goal of mine, is to just stay in the hunt. Yeah. And even when I'm not winning, I'm still like pushing that person that's winning, or
you're still like fighting. You're still there. Yeah.
Yeah. But ideally, I'm gonna win at every tournament. But
that would be incredible.
That's. Yeah. If I've learned anything, it's to not make your goals too high, because then you get disappointed earlier, and that translates into the smaller level too. If you think, okay, I'm gonna shoot a 14 under par, and then 4 holes in you haven't got a birdie yet, now you're already disappointed, and it's only been 4 holes. So if you can just think about every single hole slowly and surely, and then that translates into what I'm saying about the tournaments as well. Just play every tournament as it comes, and try to keep myself into it. And then hopefully at the end of the year, I have one of those beautiful obelisks that the PDGA gives out. And it's just a good reminder of the consistency and the work ethic and stuff like that.
Yeah, and all that hard work paying off. Yeah.
I was going to say, do you have any goals, like as far as like, as a recently transitioned AM into pro, do you have any goals like that are like performance based? You said you want to sign up for tournaments, but do you have any like performance based goals?
I do have a couple. I'm hoping to place in, like, I would love to be on podium for at least one of those tournaments. I feel like that's a pretty achievable goal. And I don't want to set high expectations like we were saying, because I don't want to get disappointed. But like if I just say like get on podium, that way I feel like that's a respectable goal. And it is only my second season, so I'm still kind of figuring out how tournaments work and all of that stuff. So I'm hoping to be on podium. I did win a tournament last year, so I would love to win another one. I would love to win all of them. I mean, that's why we play disc golf, right? We all want to win. So, yeah.
So do you, like, when you're thinking, okay, I'm going to play these 4 tournaments and I want a podium at one of them at least, do you then consider which tournaments you're signing up for so that those are easier to accomplish? Or like you're like, oh, I play really well on this course, I'm going to sign up for that one?
Definitely. I think about the courses that I've played a lot, and that is a huge factor for me because the more you know it, the more confident you'll be, the more you know your discs and you know what you'll throw there. You don't even have to have a practice round and all that stuff. I'm sure you know about that. But I also think about like how they are in location to me where I live, right? So if it's hard to get to this one tournament, like, or if it's going to be like, I don't have a van or anything like that. I just have a Subaru Outback, so
like cost.
Yeah, so cost of like the trip is a huge factor for me as well. Yeah,
totally. Especially when you're an amateur player or a new pro, you're not really making a lot of money. So I think that's a huge thing that goes into planning is that, hey, I have to not lose too much money. If I'm going to take these days off of work, I got to make it worth it. So yeah, I noticed that, like, growing up with my dad, he was always going to play tournaments. And he would pick the ones that were like 3-hour drives so he could still drive back Sunday night after the tournament, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Very cool. So what are the tournaments that Jo should sign up for?
Yeah, let me know. I would love to hear any Canadian local tournaments, or actually in the States. I could get to the States.
I think it's cool though that, you know, another thing, it's like, okay, an am and a pro, right? A newly pro and a well-seasoned pro, but it's also like a Canadian and an American. And so it's like, I think that's cool, is to talk about disc golf all over the world. And I know that we featured that on UC and Simon's episode, but I think it's really cool to continue to talk about the Canadian scene. I know I had Missy at my house recently, and we were playing this board game, and it was like, you know, how many provinces does Canada have? And it was a multiple choice question, and none of us got it, even still. And it's like, how can we not know more about Canada? It's like, it's on the same continent as us, and we don't even know that there's 10 provinces, and we probably couldn't even name 5 of them. So let's do our part. If you're American and you're listening to this, let's learn our Canadian provinces. Send them to Jo. Tag Jo when you know them.
Exactly. Come and I'll give you the quizzes, the Canadian quiz.
I'm going to learn a song for him. I've learned that, like, making little songs up helps me figure things out. Actually, if you guys don't know, I have this YouTube series called Disc Golf Tourist, and it's just like on the off seasons, I usually travel to different parts of the world and play disc golf and like do clinics and travel with other disc golfers and just kind of like experiencing traveling with other disc golfers has been really fun for me. And we went to Hungary, and this guy taught me how to say, he was trying to teach me how to say ladybug, or he said that word. And I was like, oh, that's my mom's nickname for me. And he told me how to say it so then I could tell my mom.
Oh, that's so cool.
But still, and he kept quizzing me. And he's like, how do you say it? How do you say it? And I'm like, I don't know. And then Alyssa made this little song for me. And I still remember it to this day.
So
like 3 years later, and I still remember because of a little song.
It's true, though. It's like lyrics, song lyrics. You can hear them from like back in elementary school. You can remember some of those lyrics, right? It's so funny how our brains are
I'm going to make up a little song. We'll feature it somewhere.
Yes, I love it.
About the Canadian provinces. Maybe Zoe will freestyle rap it.
Freestyle rap it. That was also a highlight of this season. That was amazing.
So good. Your face. Yeah. And I texted Jo before that episode started, and I said, hey, it's your job to get Zoe to freestyle. And so you prompted it.
I prompted it. I got it to happen.
She didn't know what was going to happen. She'd never heard Zoe freestyle.
No, I was like, okay, let's see what happens here. But Zoe freestyling.
I could see the look on your face.
I was like, what?
I cannot believe that. Yeah. It was awesome. So thank you, Zoe, for being vulnerable. I know that you've never done that in public before, so that was super cool to have that on a JomezPro
exactly
episode of Approachable. It was amazing.
Yeah, everybody needs to hear that. That was so good. Yeah.
You probably have already seen it by now, but if you haven't, go back to the last episode.
Please go check it out. Yeah, it was so good.
So good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zoe was our last guest of the season, but coming up in season 2, again, like we said, we're going to have so many amazing interviews. Some we already have lined up, but others we are still trying to narrow down. We did 8 episodes this season. Maybe we'll do 10 next season. Maybe we'll do 12.
You let us know, like, how long do you like seasons for? You can give us that feedback too, and we would love to hear that. Yeah.
Like we said, this is our baby to make however you want. So if you say we want 20 episodes, then
maybe we
guess
can make
Joe
20.
and I are going to have to get a little bit more busy around here.
Exactly. Thank you to anyone who has bought some merch. You can do so over at JomezPro.com. Yeah, we would love for you to own some, so check it out, and we are so grateful. Thank you so much.
It's been really cool to see it out there, and it was fun for us to just help in the design process.
Yes.
We love the colors. We love everything about it, so definitely is really cool to just see the small little logo, Approachable, and just know that, it's a small little logo on a hat, but like it has been such a big and fulfilling project for us. So to see you guys wearing it has been really, really cool. So if you have worn it and you have it and you haven't shown anybody yet, tag us on Instagram at ApproachablePod, and we'll feature you on our Instagram. That's because it definitely makes us smile when we see it. So
definitely. And it has a bigger message, making disc golf approachable. Not a lot of people know what that message is, but you can represent and make disc golf approachable that way too.
And that's a good point too. Don't just wear it, like be it.
Talk
when you're
about
wearing that hat and you put it on, when you put that shirt on, think about, okay, this is like my work uniform today. Like my job today when I'm wearing this shirt is to make disc golf approachable. So thank you guys so much for all the love and support in season 1 of Approachable. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, thank yous, anything, send them to our email, approachable@JomezPro.com. Or if you're watching, leave a comment below, and we will see you very shortly.
Yes, we will. Come say hi to us on a Disc Golf Pro Tour if you see us. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. That's a wrap. Season 1.
Boom.